All right, here we go. We're recording. Okay, so something that I will use as just as a way to help you to understand, like when you're looking at objects in one-point perspective, you think about this in plan view. This is you. Back when people did hand drafting more, this was maybe like a more common symbol, where this is this is like actually separate from all of that. So this is a plan view of a person, and one-point perspective is when you see it. I should just draw that larger. Silly. So one point is when you are looking at something this is you, and you see it in this, like at this orientation. The front and the back are sitting at a constant depth from you, and then the sides recede, and in perspective, those sides appear to converge at a point in the distance. 2 point here's you looking, and the object is turned diagonally like that, and you have this set of edges receding to your right, this set of edges receding to your left. In this case, the vanishing point is right in front of you, and in this case, the vanishing points are to your left and to your right. So if you're looking diagonally across a room, you would use 2-point perspective to draw the architecture. You might have an object sitting in one point at like a 1-point perspective view within that room, like if it were like sitting like that in the corner, like that. But over like this part here, this is going to right and left vanishing point. Also, you could have in a 1 point, if this is like a 1-point interior, like this is like a little tiny plan, you could also have that same thing turned diagonally in the corner like that. Sometimes you do that with the corner, turn a chair diagonally so that it looks out across the room like this. The chair would have 2-point perspective, the interior 1-point perspective. That make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Good, because you may encounter it. All right. So, review. One-point perspective. Horizon line is the presumed eye level in a perspective drawing. And it's an imaginary line often because you often don't see to the horizon. But you use that because your vanishing points, in this case it's like 1-point perspective, the vanishing point is there. I could put the vanishing point over here, I could put it over here, but I can only use one in 1-point perspective. So horizon line, vanishing point. You can label them if you want to. HL, VP. Sometimes, like if you say this is your VP, sometimes you just have to erase that because it's going to get in the way of the drawing you're doing. You do not need to label them if you understand which is what those things are. So with the 1-point perspective, looking straight ahead, you start this flat side that's facing you, a rectangle. I'm doing this freehand. If you use a straight edge, make sure that you are parallel to the horizon line. That is it's a very important point. So from this rectangle, I draw the vanishing points. There is a bottom corner, the bottom edge down here. There's a bottom edge down here. If you want to use a straight edge, you may. I recommend, like, if I'm drawing from this corner, I'll rotate the straight edge off of the corner. It allows it to be more efficient if you're trying to, like, get this one and then you get this one and it keeps slipping off of one of the points. You can also just put the pencil on the vanishing point and then turn it off the vanishing point. Makes it go a lot faster. Now the back here, if you're drawing a specific object, you might want to think what's the depth? Like if this is meant to be a table, I might want it to go back like that far. If it's something much longer, I could go farther back, but in this case, I'm just going to do that. All right, so these objects that you're drawing, you're kind of like making it up. Straight down here, straighten some of this out. Yeah, that's okay. Drawing freehand, if you were to use perspective drawing in a professional setting, drawing freehand is the way you would want to do it because it's faster. And as long as you can make it close enough, people will understand what you're doing. Okay, I also wanted to correct this because if I want to locate that back corner, I got to make sure that these things are, oops, see, there we go. I got to make sure these things are accurately drawn. It's not quite, something's not quite matching up here. I do this partly freehand and partly with a straight edge. It can be kind of tough to keep it. So in this case, I think if I were trying to draw something at the table, I would just say, that's good enough. I'm going to make it look right. That. Ooh, yeah. Keep that like that. What I want to do with this one. Well, just go ahead and finish this up. I'm going to put some tapered cylindrical legs. Not that much. Sometimes you erase a line and you just redraw it and put it right back. Put that mistake right back in there. Straight edge. Good. Okay. Something like that. That would work. So if you have something like a leg that is, like a tapered cylinder, a little bit more graceful if you have that, leg get a little smaller to the bottom. You don't have any edges other than the outer edge to draw because it's curving all the way around. So you just kind of try to draw the bottom of it with that slight curve as best you can. Okay. So let me just draw another basic object up here for review. So over to the left, above eye level, above the eye level, you're drawing down to the vanishing point. Joey wants to come out. He can't right now. Happy that I'm not in there. Okay, so again, you start it with these edges receding to the vanishing point. Horizontal, vertical. Now, an alteration can be as simple as just saying I'm going to take the corner off right there. There will be a corresponding diagonal back there, and you find the edges of it by going from here. If I draw this, I'm going to take this volume off of it. I draw this diagonal to show how much I'm taking off. There's going to be a new point here and a new point here. When you hit the edge, it changes direction and goes to the vanishing point. Where I have this, where it reaches the back edge here and here, that's where I draw the new diagonal. And then I get that. Throw in a little bit of shading. Help me see the volume of it a little bit better. When you do light and shadow with just pencil, marker, colored pencil, then you make the object look you make any object look more realistic because you're applying realistic effects of how light and shadow will allow you to see the volume of something. Okay. Good. Now another object right here, I think I'm going to do something maybe a little bit more. Here. Okay. Good. Again, this is really is a good thing to practice. Draw simple forms in perspective. That up there. I usually don't draw like this opposite corner. Like if this is a solid volume, I usually don't draw this hidden edge going to the vanishing point unless I need it. Unless I know I need it, or I don't draw it until I need it. If I find that I need to locate where that opposite, that sort of like hidden corner is, or that hidden edge, then I will go back in and draw it. So good. So some of the alterations I've done have some curves, so I'll do something that's got a curve in it. that. So I'm taking this off the front, where this curve like, so it gets straight, and then where it begins to curve is, I can just say there's a point there. Comes down here, there's a new point there. See the vanishing point? So there can be new edges there. That. Straighten this out. Good. So I draw from where the curve begins down to the vanishing point, and so that's where the curve would begin on the back edge. Curve ends, that's where the curve ends over here. Drawing this freehand, like I might miss the first time I draw it. I think I gotta curves back. Just gonna take all that stuff out since it's coming out. This back here. I'm just gonna try to redraw that as best I can so that it looks enough like it's the same curve closer and farther away. Like baby Tombow eraser. And so here, because this curves, I'm going to take this hard line off of it. Because what would be better is if I can just show like a change in shading. When you have a curved surface, you get like gradually changing shadow and light. So I'm going to assume like this part that's tucked underneath here probably be the darkest part. And then you can show this gradual transition from darker to lighter up there. And when I do shading like with the side of the pencil, I hold the pencil with my fingertips. This is a little tiny pencil. I hate throwing away pencils until they're actually like really gone. So I tend to keep my pencils until they can't really be held anymore. But even if you were using a longer pencil, like right here, if you're holding it the way you write and you're trying to do that, it's really hard to, you can't really get the, like the, there. So like that's sort of like this cone of graphite that comes out of the end of the pencil. You can't really get that flat unless you hold it with your fingertips and lay it down like that. Sometimes I'll rest it on my pinky so I can like do like more detailed work like that, and I want to keep it from waddling. But like what I did up here, I was doing this just with my fingertips. It allows me to use the side of the pencil to create this like much more subtle shading. Shading with the point of the pencil can be done, but you just get this like with like this thin mark like that. You can do hatching with it, but sometimes you really want the side of the pencil because you can make something look like it's a more realistic transition on a surface. And that's something that you're going to be doing in the in these assignments when we get into the marker rendering part of it. You're really going to be trying to create the appearance of like light and shadow like the volume of surfaces and like different types of surfaces that are either like reflective or light absorbent. The difference between an area carpet and hardwood flooring. One reflects light, one absorbs light. I will show you how to create different, like how to use the markers and the pencils to create those effects. Okay, so there's a 1-point perspective. What if you have like a, let's try this. Put a hole in the ground here. Here. See, as it gets farther to the left and the right, it gets much more foreshortened. The angles get sharper. I was going a little too soft on my angles. This is way out. It's way out there. It's a good example of something that's in the peripheral vision. Like if the viewer looking here, this is like all like what's right in front of the viewer's eyes. Down to the left is something that's, you can draw it clearly in perspective, but the viewer looking at this spot can't really see that without, you can't really like look at it without turning your head. So if you're looking straight ahead, you just see like, you wouldn't really see that. But in a perspective drawing, you can draw it, and so you can get this like distortion that comes from there being something in the peripheral vision, and it's seen clearly in the perspective. I bring that up because you could be doing perspective correctly, and it can look weird, and it can look wrong, and you might think there's something wrong, and there isn't anything wrong. You're using it correctly. It's just you're drawing something that's really like normally you'd never be able to see that. All right. There. Say little like depressions, a conversation pit. Something you can practice in terms of technique is like what I'm doing right here, just like on a piece of sketchbook paper. Practice controlling that. I'm holding this like way farther back. Like if I want to do a larger area, I can hold it farther back. I have the end of the pencil in my palm. See that I have that camera zoomed in pretty far. You can also try like here, creating transitions just by like lightening the pressure. Or you can use the pencil, with more the point of the pencil, make something that's going to be a little bit darker, a little bit sharper. It's a little harder to do, like to just, you can lighten the pressure and spread out those the hatch marks to make something that looks better. I might turn my my desk lamp, creating a little bit too much glare. Okay, let's see. All right, so 1-point perspective, and that's also a little bit of drawing technique that I think will be helpful. 2-point perspective, I'm going to come back to this drawing where I did not finish everything. use this softer pencil, darker, show up better. All right. All right. So the these objects. So here, so the 2-point perspective, I have the vanishing points left and right, and if I draw too close to the vanishing points, I'll get distortion. So, and I have this paper at a vertical orientation because for some reason, if I try turning my iPad horizontally, it turns the screen share to be a horizontal, and that's not very useful to you. That would be really confusing. So you can turn you should, if you're doing 2-point perspective, make your paper as wide as you can get it, or use the width of the paper. But here, horizon line, vanishing points right and left, all of these angles receding to the vanishing point, these are all at right angles to each other, 90 degrees, a rectangular corner. So if I draw all of these using the same 2 vanishing points, that means that everything is lined up parallel. And all right, so some of these here, I did a so the way you do these alterations is you just start, like I usually just start drawing like this shape on a surface, and like on the bottom surface of this object here, do that. And I'm going to remove, so that edge is going to disappear. These are going to just be verticals. Really, all I would see is this. Move my paper over a little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to enlarge this. Okay. And then this is going, sort of going up into this space here. Like that. And then this guy right here. I think I'm going to do as far as that. All right. This one back in here. I think what I want to do is do like a that. Um, see clearly I'm taking this edge off. Here. Here's my high point there. So I'm going to have to draw back to the vanishing point there. See where this intersects that edge over there. This is lower. This edge gets lowered because this there. Now this corner back here being lower, there's a way I can find out where that, like where this would come up. First, I'm going to just kind of roll this over. Like that, so that it looks kind of like this one. And what I can do, I mean, I could just like kind of draw through this and clean that up, but this curve has to be the same. Something that I see this happen. Sometimes it even like happens to me. If I draw this new edge out here, and I usually just draw my lines longer than I need them, and then I will like finish this other edge, and then where they intersect, that's where the corner is. If I just draw this line and stop, I just caught myself assuming that this was the correct end of the line. It's not. I'm watching this, like this shape right here. I'm going to try to imitate this shape over here. This is going to go back to the vanishing. Just this little bit sticking up right there, and that is what that should look like. Vertical surfaces tend to get shadow, and horizontal surfaces tend to get highlight. Because light is usually coming from overhead. You know, even if there's some light coming from like a window, or you're not right by the window, or you don't have like a really strong light on something. It's really more ambient light. So this is a little clumsy right here. I'm just going to clean this up. This contour line here is too heavy. Better. And that is this. Sorry for moving the paper around so much, but I want you to be able to enlarge it, keep it in the middle of the camera. Good. Okay. There we go. So, good. Helpful review, I hope.
Yes, yes.
Very good. I don't want to go too slow. I don't want to go too fast. I know some of you do already have experience doing this, doing some of this stuff, but just want to make sure we bring everybody along with us.
I don't have any experience, so this is helpful.
Very good. Very, very good. Now I saw that some of you had already posted some drawings in Blackboard, and if you'd like, we can have a look. If you have questions, I can look at your drawings and I can tell you how you might correct some of those drawings. So you can let me know. Otherwise, I think what I'm going to do is just like maybe I'm going to start by doing maybe like just like a simple table or just like a very simple object in perspective, so you can see how it works. I know for the assignment that we're going to start next after this one, you are going to choose furniture objects to draw. One of them is given to you, which is the Seska chair. That's going to be an exercise. It's not one of the drawings you choose. We're doing this like a Marcel Breuer Seska chair. So those like what you choose, is going to be up to you. But feel free to let one of the objects that you choose be simple, like a table, a bench, interesting furniture with a lot of curves, or there's a sofa designed by Isamu Noguchi, who designed a lot of stuff for Herman Miller. And it's just got these like really organic shapes to it, and it's very interesting. But it's not the kind of sofa you would want to pick up the first time you try to draw furniture in perspective. All right, I'll be right back, and we are going to. I'm going to go get a book so I can have it out here on the paper or under the camera. So I'll be right back with that. All right. Sorry, I forgot to turn the camera on for the Mark Stam chair. Do something again here. So does that make sense to like drawing a different view than you're looking at in the photo? All right. I think I'm going to do this same Mark Stam chair in one point. So I think I'll just bring this back here. Switch to my lead holder just for the heck of it. So if you're standing the back of a chair, if the view of your image is that you're standing, the back of the chair is going to be below your eye level, unless it's a really tall, like Macintosh ladder back chair or something like that. No, don't eat that. He likes to eat tape, and that's very bad for him. All right, so like the Mark Stam chair, below eye level, and actually I find it to be like better if I keep it below eye level, like enough below eye level, then I don't have problems with these edges that are up at the top getting kind of flat like that because they are right at eye level. If you were seated looking at, an interior, then, it would bring objects closer to the horizon line. But so here, so we're going to do this 1-point perspective. And I'm going to put this chair here off to the side. When you're doing this, like learning perspective and doing this kind of for like just to demonstrate to me and to yourself how to do it, I would avoid putting like this edge right underneath the vanishing point, because as you see, like if you have to draw to the vanishing point and it's right there, you're just going to get like verticals going to the vanishing point, and you won't be able to draw anything on this side. So I'd like you to keep it clear. All right, so I'm going to estimate the depth and give me straight here. Good. Yeah, it's pretty tough when you're sitting at a table. Like I'm sitting at a table, I'm looking at my drawing at an oblique angle. It can be hard for me to see what's parallel. It can be hard for me to see that these verticals are straight. So on my desktop, I can see what you can see. I can see my the screen of my iPad, and so I can look and see whether or not they're actually straight. But it's really, like sometimes there's just some drift in accuracy. And sometimes it's because of the angle that you're seeing your drawing at. In the classroom, when we're back there next week, you'll be able to stand over your drawing, and I recommend that some of the time that you're standing while you're working, because then you can see it better. All right. This. It's okay. That's close enough right there. Like if I'm drawing this like comes close to being like meeting, but like this is actually a little bit lower, I'm just going to fudge it and say that's fine. Especially since I'm going to be giving this some thickness. Okay, so I'm going to have the seat here. Now I'll approximate the accurate height of the seat based on the the image I've got to look at. Then on the side, I go to the vanishing point. This side, I go to the vanishing point, and that there. So you can see here, like, these are the same depth, but because this is farther to the left, you see much more of this edge than this edge. That's normal. Nothing wrong. Okay, so this was simple. I drew the tall box, I cut it in half, and I already can start to see my chair. So that's a very valuable thing for you to do. And then I can start just like take away some of these edges that I know aren't going to be there. I remember that the front of the bottom is open. These verticals stay in here. The verticals come out of the back. It has a cantilevered seat, meaning like cantilever is kind of like a diving board. If you look at this plan in like a side elevation, it's like that. And you sit here, and this is open back here, and so the pitch of the chair is created by your weight. Kind of like a diving board is cantilevered. It's secured at one end and then extends out into space. So that's what that means. All right. Looking back at my so I can see. I need to be able to see that my seat is there, up there, and then the strap here for the back support, not as wide, it's a narrower strip like that. And this there. Now here you can see the foreshortening. With this curve, you can, so over to the left, you can see the curve happen. Here you really don't see it. That curve goes like right back away, so see the curve as much. That's fine. It's just the way it would look. Good. Right. So as far as this assignment is concerned, I want you to get the proportions of it close enough. If you draw this and you miscalculate the width and it looks like it's a love seat or something like that, then you're drawing three different views of it. You could correct it, or you can just say, okay, I'm going to make the next view of it look better. But it can look weird if the seat is too deep, or if the seat's too wide, or if like this is too tall, this is too short. Part of that is what you're doing is I want you to be able to look at something and evaluate it. Like give me a good approximation just from sight. And it is a bit of a trial and error process with this. Um, but at some point, you have to develop your judgment about what looks right. Because when you are working, if you're either already working or someday you will be working, maybe soon you will be working in interior design, your judgment as a designer is very important. And you need to be able to make decisions that, like in school, we help you, we tell you, here's how you can solve this problem, here's another way, and here's what I recommend you do. Um, but in the professional world, people will not necessarily be helping you with that. They'll just say, we need you to do this, and you will be expected to do it. And then you'll have to make a decision about what's right. And it can be a little scary. I think it's actually really I like doing that. It's when it's up to me to decide. Um, I actually enjoy that. Um, but it can be kind of nerve-wracking at first when you just think like, I don't know, right? But you do know. You just have to learn, to be confident in your decisions. That's, I think, one of the more challenging things to do. So here I'm going to use my straight edge for this. Just goofy. And if I look at this, the fabric goes around the tube. So I might even put a little shadow in here to show that it wraps around. There's a gap in there. But that's it's not bad. Smudge this. Give it a little bit of tone. Yeah. Kind of a fade here. It's hard to see dimension on this. If you make this, this is lacquered black lacquered steel. If you just make it solid black, and it won't look like it has any volume. If I shade in a way where like I'm hatching and then kind of like making it get lighter, I can create what looks like a transition and make it look like it has a little bit of volume to it. So there we go. And this actually needs to be a little bit thinner. Thin rod that goes in between them. All right. This chair is not going to cast much of a shadow on the floor. You could just like put a little bit of shading underneath it. I usually like let the shading kind of spread out a little bit so it doesn't look like it's the chair somehow is containing it right underneath. And this looks a little bit blank here. if I were to put a little bit of shading back here, even there, just so that I can, so the viewer can look at it and see that this isn't just like, this is not a solid surface, it's not a void, into some parallel universe. It's just, it's an opening, it's a place where there is no structure. Sometimes it's a little tough, it's a little bit awkward, but that we'll probably leave alone here. All right, that was kind of fun. So just as a little bit of history, around in the 1920s, there were a lot of people working on how to create furniture using a steel tube. And Mart Stam, you got Mart Stam, Eileen Gray was also doing it. If you have not taken the history of furniture class yet, and you don't know about the great Eileen Gray, you should check her out. Mies, the man often, like Cher, he's known often just as Mies. His last name is Fong. There. Roja. And my old buddy, Marcel Breuer. B-R-E-U-E-R. That is spelled Breuer in German. He was German. He came to the U.S. and taught at Harvard, lived in the Northeast. He and Walter Gropius were pals, and when they both taught at Harvard. And as you know, Mies came to Chicago. We got Mies here, which is fine with me. He was good. He did a lot to make Chicago a destination for architecture again after World War II. So, all right. Good. So practice. So this is 1 point. 2 point. So I want you to do 1 and 2 point views for your furniture. So I show you this for any of you that are ready to get onto this. If you still need to work on these just basic forms with alterations in 1 and 2 point perspective, we are, according to the schedule, we are still working on this. So you don't have to hurry into the, I'm not trying to, hurry you up and say, push you into doing furniture, but I'm pretty sure some of you are ready to do furniture already. Okay, we're going to take a break now. When we come back, if you have drawings you would like me to see, actually I would like to see some of what you're drawing. So think about, you might turn your camera on. I'll stop the screen share, and highlight your window. You can turn your screen on and hold your drawing up to the camera if you want to, or if your drawing is posted in the here. Let's go back to screen. Here. Look at this. You got a drawing in here. Open it up and have a look at it. Okay? I would like it if someone would say, yes, look at my drawing, because I would like everyone to see it. So think about that. We'll be back in 6, 2, 2, 2, 2. at 5 to 3. All right, 3:55 or 2:55 we'll be back.